Hey everyone, it's Kazlo and welcome back to my channel. It's time for the next segment of my RPG Club playthrough of the classic JRPG, Chrono Trigger. But first, what is the RPG Club? I've been an avid listener of the podcast RPG The After Years and its predecessor RPG The Golden Years. The podcast focuses on RPG reviews and news. They regularly do a community event known as the RPG Club. Imagine a book club, but for RPGs. They break up a community-chosen RPG into digestible chunks, usually about 5 hours, and discuss those segments every 2 weeks like a book club. If you want to check out RPG The After Years, you can find a link in the description below. At the end of the last section, Chrono and the team freed Melchior from Mount Woe, but returned to see Shala and her brother abducted by Dalton. Melchior grants Chrono a red knife, a weapon created to destroy the Mammoth Machine. With this new weapon, Chrono and the team return to Zeal. After a quick fight in the throne room against Dalton, the team teleports to the Ocean Palace in search of the Queen and the Mammoth Machine. After navigating the Ocean Palace, a pretty complex dungeon, the team finds the Queen using Shala to power the Mammoth Machine. Chrono strikes the machine with the red knife, turning the blade into the Masamune, interrupting the ritual and forcing a battle against Lavos. Chrono and the team attempt to fight it, but are quickly dispatched. This leads to the Prophet, revealing he is actually Magus, who was teleported here by the time gate opened after the team defeated him. He intends to use this opportunity to take out Lavos once and for all, but also fails. The Queen then leaps onto Lavos and laughs as it tries to absorb Shala. Chrono, in a last resort, jumps in front of Shala and sacrifices himself. This allows the team and Shala to escape, where they mourn Chrono's sacrifice before Shala teleports them to safety. Lavos then fully awakens and destroys the Kingdom of Zeal, crashing it to the planet and flooding the world, leaving only a single solitary island as the future of humanity. The team awakens in a hut, discovering that they had washed up on the nearby shore. The team begins conversing with nearby villagers, made up of both Zeal citizens and non-magical humans, before Dalton attacks, proclaiming himself king over this new world. Dalton then takes the team prisoner in his flying fortress. The team is stripped of their equipment and thrown in a prison cell. Luckily, Isla doesn't need weapons, and the team fights through the fortress, reacquiring their equipment. While exploring, the team learns that Dalton has taken the Epoch and made modifications to it. Ultimately, the team makes it to the exterior of the fortress, where they discover Dalton flying the Epoch and showing off its weaponry before they jump off the fortress and onto the top of the Epoch. After defeating Dalton, the team jumps in the cockpit and flies the Epoch back to the solitary island. Checking a nearby cape, the team encounters Magus, who tells them his backstory. See, Magus was once the child Janus, before a time gate created by Lavos sent himself and the 3 gurus into different time periods. The team chooses to join forces with Magus, who says there might be a way to bring Chrono back, and points the team back to the end of time and the old man there. As the team boards the Epoch, a giant fortress appears in the sky, the Black Omen. It also apparently appears in the sky of many different time periods. However, the team has a date with the end of time, and when they get there, the old man reveals he's actually the guru of time, Gaspar, and grants the team the Chrono Trigger. He then points the team to Balthazar from 2400 AD. Speaking with Balthazar, he says that they might be able to bring Chrono back if they can find a duplicate of Chrono. Luckily, a Chrono duplicate can be won pretty easily from the Millennium Fair. With the duplicate in hand, Balthazar points the team to Death's Peak, where they must climb to the top and use the Chrono Trigger. After climbing the mountain, the team calls out to bring Chrono back. Marl's pendant then reacts with the Chrono Trigger and seemingly explodes. An eclipse then occurs and the team is teleported back to Chrono's sacrifice, with time frozen. The team swaps Chrono for the duplicate before being teleported back to Death's Peak. Reunited, it's now time to stop Lavos. After a few side quests. For this segment I decided to do 2 side quests. First, there's a woman in 600 AD that holds a sapling. Her name's Fiona, and she's afraid to plant it due to monsters ravaging the desert where she lives. After clearing out the monsters, Robo decides to stay with Fiona and help her till the land and foster the saplings. Leaving Robo behind, team travels to 1000 AD, where they discover a great forest has appeared with a church at its center. Inside, we find a broken down Robo. Luca spends the night repairing Robo before wandering off and finding a time gate that takes her back to her childhood. Working in the background, she's able to prevent a mechanical malfunction that mangled her mother's legs. Returning back to the group, Robo and Luca share a heartwarming moment before they join the rest of the team. Now, the team can visit Luca's house and discover her mother can now walk, and her father gives us in-game armor for Luca. Second, I did the Sunstone side quest. In this side quest, we find a moonstone in 2400 AD, then have to have it sit in the Sun Shrine from prehistoric times to 24 AD to repower it. Oh, and we have to teach a family that greed is bad. Ultimately, this quest gives Luca her best weapon in the game, so now she's pretty geared out. And that's where we leave off for this section of Chrono Trigger. Despite doing a lot in this section, it actually flew by. I think a lot of that has to do with the difficulty not being too high, especially after doing some grinding on the elevator in the Ocean Palace. This is also another section with some really iconic moments. I particularly love the moment when the team jumps off of Dalton's air fortress to fight him on top of the Epoch. It's just an epic fight. Then Chrono's sacrifice is something that was pretty bold for the game to do to the player, especially when the Resurrection quest is technically optional. Finally, recruiting Magus reminds me of how much I miss secret and optional characters from the golden age of JRPGs. I'm really excited to wrap up the game in the next section, although I still have several side quests to do, some of which I think I've never done in a playthrough. But that's it for this section of the Chrono Trigger RPG Club. If you want to follow along with what happens next, be sure to hit that subscribe button to see new videos when they are posted. Additionally, if you want to check me out elsewhere, I have links to my Twitch, Twitter, and Discord in the description below. See you all next time.